To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good evening. We'll go ahead and start with our Spotlight School. Mr. Beaver.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us today. One of our big goals at Greenfield Junior High School lately has been trying to increase student motivation by offering more choice and high-interest offerings in our related arts class lineup. Related arts classes are those classes that are not the traditional core of math, social studies, science, and English language arts. Oftentimes, related arts classes can provide students with experiences that are more in line with their personal interests and even some of their career interests. This year, we piloted a new course that we call Visual Communications and Design. We know communication is essential for our students. We've known that for years. And in our English language arts classes, our students work on traditional communication skills, written communication skills, reading. But communication has evolved in the digital age. One's effective communication skills now must go beyond simply traditional writing and narrative, or traditional reading rather, and narrative writing. We do not frequently communicate with one another that way anymore. Oftentimes our communication now is through infographics, through videos, through social media, which has been a game changer for all of us. These forms of communication require refined skills that aren't necessarily always those skills we work on in our traditional English language arts classes. Our visual communications classes, under the direction of Mrs. Holden, seek to help our students round out their communication skill suites. I've asked Mrs. Holden and some of her students to come show you a little bit about the visual arts and design, our visual communication and design class at Greenfield Central Junior High. Mrs. Holden?
Thank you so much. Hi, thank you so much for having us tonight. I'm Monica Holden. I know I've met many of you in the past. I see some new faces tonight as well, so thank you so much for having us. Like Mr. Beaver said, this is our first year doing visual communication design, and we've just been having so much fun kind of learning together along the way. He mentioned that we're not communicating in just a traditional way anymore. So we're giving our students the opportunity to get creative with communication through print media, social media, poster design, video production, and we've just had so much fun. So I brought several students with me tonight. They all actually came from softball right before this. So these are students who are involved in many things, and they're just shining in every facet. So we put together a short video for you. This kind of encompasses all of the things that we do in visual communication design. So I think probably the most fun thing that we do is we run our student news broadcast. It's called The News for Cougs. It's completely student run. They have done everything from coming up with the name of the news broadcast to coming up with all of the news segments that they want to cover, interviewing people, putting together the graphics, adding the audio. They're doing everything from start to finish, and it's so fun. But you're also going to see things like social media posts. We have access to the social media outlets through the school, so that's really fun that they can create posts in the classroom and see those posted on Instagram and Facebook. So that's awesome, an awesome opportunity for them. We do a lot of print media, so we recently designed all of the promotional posters for our robotics club. We're doing all of the posters to update student photos in the hallways, so they're just having a lot of opportunities to see their work showcased in the classroom and beyond. So I'm going to start the video, and this was created by our visual communication design students, and then we're going to give you a little snapshot of what we do in the classroom each day. Dr. Olin has graciously offered to be interviewed for our next news broadcast, which will air on the Monday that we get back from break because we've already aired our broadcast for today. So here's our little video. Couple quick things. So all of the posters that you just saw there at the end, those were all designed by our visual communication design students. The photos were mostly from Alpha Sports Photography, an awesome local sports photographer. But the designs were all put together by our students, so it's really awesome for them to see their work in the hallways. Everybody's really enjoying them. I have a few more I need to get printed, and then we'll be just about done with those. But it's been really fun to see the reaction of students and staff as those are going up in the hallways. Another quick note was Xander, who you saw in the video there, he was supposed to be with us tonight. He had something come up and he wasn't able to join us. So unfortunately, you won't get to meet him this evening. But the really cool thing about this class is that there is a place for everyone, no matter what your talents are. We have some students who are super comfortable in front of the camera. They are very comfortable talking to people and interviewing people. We have other students who just get it when it comes to the video production aspect of it. We have students who enjoy the design aspect. So the nice thing is that as they're working in groups on all of these segments or working on posters or social media posts, there's something for everyone. So it's been really awesome to see each student shine in their own way through this class. So I appreciate being given the opportunity to teach this class this year. So I'm hopeful that we'll get to see more of it in the future. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my team here. So from left to right, I have Lainey, Trinity, and Riley. The awesome thing, like I said, everybody has their own way to shine in this class. Lainey and Trinity are some of our students who, you saw them on camera, they were a little bit quiet because they are outstanding when it comes to the design aspect, the filming, the production aspect of it. So they're willing to do anything. Clearly they're here tonight to present for everybody here. But they really, really shine when it comes to putting all of this stuff together. This presentation was really put together by our students as well. So Trinity and Lainey will be running our camera. Riley is super comfortable on camera talking to people, very personable, so she gets to shine in that way. And Trinity and Riley will shine when it comes to the production aspect of it. So, Dr. Olin, if you're ready for your interview, come on up.
Ready.
And what did I say?
You said Trinity.
I'm sorry.
Would you mind doing this one? Right here.
This is what we do every week in our classroom.
Okay. That worked.
He's like, I'm out of here.
Hi, I'm Riley, and I'm reporting from the school board meeting. Today I'm interviewing our superintendent, Dr. Olin. What are your general responsibilities as a superintendent?
Most part, it's just to make sure we have an appropriate educational curriculum for all of our students and that typically or traditionally was more kindergarten through our senior year, and now that would be our preschool students all the way through our 18-year-olds, and just making sure that our curriculum is in line with what the state tells us is a requirement for graduation, and then we backward map that all the way down to preschool, making sure that we're building those skills throughout each of those 13 or technically 15 years that students are with us.
How does someone become a school board member and what are their responsibilities?
The school board member's responsibility would be governance, to oversee really the business of the school corporation. And they are elected, and here within Greenfield Central, it's 2 townships. It would be Green Township and Center Township. And among that geographic area, there are 4 quadrants. We would have the northwest, northeast, southeast, and southwest, and then 1 at-large candidate, and they basically filed to be put on the ballot, and they would have to win an election.
If you could give your 8th grade self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Probably to not take myself so seriously. When I was 13 and 14 years old, the things that seem to be earth-shattering probably aren't that important in the scheme of things when you look back 4 or 5 years later. So don't take yourself too seriously.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So you can see. I'm proud of the work they do, as you can see. It is all student-driven all the time. And that was the one thing that was really important to us. So I appreciate Mrs. Holden and these ladies being here with us today. And Dr. Olin will be on our next News for Cougars.
Yes, absolutely. All right, thank you guys so much for having us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move right along here. Anybody public comments this evening?
Nobody asked to speak. Did anyone sign up?
We'll move on to routine matters. Taking a motion to approve February 12th and the February 12th executive session and the February 12th regular meeting, 2024.
I move that we approve the minutes of the regular meeting and executive session as presented.
In a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? On to claims, Mr. Day.
Yes, including your packet this month are the regular accounts payable claims, payroll, and a construction claim for the auditorium project. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Otherwise, I ask for your approval of the claims as presented.
Any comments or questions? If not, can I get a motion to approve the claim docket as presented?
I move we approve the claim docket as presented.
In a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? On to old and unfinished business, financial matters.
Yes, in your packet this month are the February nearly final receipts and expenditures. Still waiting on one of our insurance clearing account, one of our interest clearing accounts, so I can fill that spot in. Otherwise, revenue's coming in as expected, expenditures are coming in as expected. Happy to answer any questions you have about the financials for this month. Otherwise, this is information only and no board action is required.
We have no comments or questions. Move right along to instructor report. Dr.
Make sure that loads here. I got the wrong one. Okay, you have a few different items here. We actually have the first one being social studies material adoption. I'm actually gonna ask Mr. Marine to share a little bit about that process we've been through.
Yeah, so this is, last month we had our first introduction to the social studies materials from Savas, so this will be our second and final recommendation. So we are hoping to adopt the Savas materials 4, 5, and 6 for grades 4, 5, and 6 with supplementary We the People resource for civics in 6th grade.
Any questions or comments? Get a motion to approve.
I move that we approve the adoption of the Savas materials. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, sorry, I'm choked up there. Thank you.
Beyond that, on the second page, you're gonna see we also have some math material adoption. We've been kind of sharing this saga with you for a while. We went through the lengthy process of looking at the different curricular materials that the large vendors for the most part. And right as we were about ready to adopt that last year, the state asked us to put the brakes on that. We want to make sure that anything that we adopted ended up on the approved list from the state because of the tie that the state is now paying basically $150 per person for curricular materials. We want to make sure that we would be reimbursed for something to not pick something that wasn't on that list. Mr. Marine, I'm going to call you up again on this because we are hopeful. Tell us where we're at on that.
So we've been waiting for the high quality curricular materials to come out from the list to come out from the DOE. We're hoping that was gonna be released before this meeting, but they haven't released it yet, so we would like to just get our first reading of our math materials to you tonight so that we can hopefully present that for a final reading of the April meeting, and then we can get materials ordered and get our process moving. So we just wanted to get it out in front of you so that we could get the timeline moving.
Yeah, so just clarifying, this is informational purposes only, assuming we see that list, and we would move forward with the McGraw-Hill materials next month as a recommendation before you. But again, it's just been holding out there for a little while. We have had an opportunity to pilot some of these materials. We're pretty excited about what they could do for us.
There been any discussions about actually being able to get the materials? I just think we're out of COVID and the work that I'm in, when things get delayed, then there's that bullwhip effect, you know. And I'm sure Mr. Marine and all the others wanna have the materials ready at the beginning of the school year.
Our reps set from both McGraw-Hill and Envision say it should be no problem.
Alright. It's good to hear.
It's a good question because the other 292 public school corporations and some of the private schools are waiting as well. And there will be a huge demand once that list comes out.
That's why I was just wondering if we're good to wait till April, if we need to have a meeting beforehand to.
I think, unfortunately, I would not feel comfortable moving forward until we see that name on the list.
Be sure we're first in line.
I think that's why we went ahead and did the first reading tonight.
Yeah.
We didn't
Yes.
wait, 'cause we could have had to wait till 2 months from now, so.
The third item you had there in the instructional report, just a reminder that this is that time of year where we are doing the iRead 3 assessment. It's the first of our big assessments. Obviously, we'll hit the iLearn as we come back 2 weeks after break, and we will start that on April 15th. The difference about iRead this year, we did give that to second grade students. We're starting to get preliminary results sent to us. They did not have all those loaded this morning. It comes in over time. We would think probably by Wednesday, we're gonna have a good idea of where we are by each school, by grade level. Once those come out, we will start notifying families if a student has not passed, specifically our third grade students, because what families thinking about that time we do the retesting in June, and obviously we have an opportunity for some reteaching that'll take place as well. So that is an information piece for you. It is a little bit different. I think our elementary principals would tell you that half the school testing now in our K-3 schools, whereas it just used to be a fourth, there is a different feeling in the buildings. But the preliminary results have been pretty positive for our second grade students. Looks like it would be well above the state average of last year's second graders. And then the last thing that we have for you, this is something that, looking at our history, when we went to the 4-tier system in 2010, we stopped having sixth grade students participating on our athletic teams because, they were in different schools. They finished over an hour before our junior high students finished their school day. So we really didn't have the answer logistically to make that happen. Fast forward from 2010, 14 years later, when you look in our conference, there are only 2 of the 8 schools that don't allow sixth grade students to participate in athletics and those team sports. We're talking about cross country, track, tennis, golf, some of those things. We do believe in the partnership with the Boys and Girls Club that we might be able to overcome those obstacles that have been in place there from a supervision standpoint, as kids could be delivered to the junior high school from both GIS and MIS, and then we would, for about an hour, we would have somebody that could provide that supervision. had some conversation with Mr. Beaver, Mr. Cleveland, also Mr. Evans about that. It's something we feel like we could certainly make that happen. Boys and Girls Club in a good place right now in terms of the strength of their staffing model. And it is something that we wanted to make sure we were sharing with the board, just to get a sense if that's something you would be okay with. If we can make that happen, would you be okay with us adding that opportunity for 6th grade students?
Yeah, I don't foresee a problem with it. Kind of, I think it's needed. I guess the only thing, if something does happen and the supervision is no longer there, have we thought about how we're gonna provide the supervision?
Mr. Beaver, you must address that, 'cause I think that was the only concern that you'd really.
We've thought about it and asked. Obviously, it is key. Our partnership with the Boys and Girls Club is key with respect to that. And that they would definitely have to be there. If we were to lose that supervision, it could put the entire program in jeopardy, because I just don't have the staff to do that. Our folks are still teaching students at that time.
But if you're okay with us looking into that, we'll make sure that we have all i's dotted, t's crossed, and it could be a good opportunity for some of our 6th grade athletes. We've talked about it for years, that in wrestling, we're forfeiting our first few weight classes. We just don't have a lot of the smaller kids to fill those. So it's something that we'll follow up on.
As an additional thought, we will enter into an MOU with the Boys and Girls Club, so we have clearly defined what those expectations are on both sides.
All right, thanks.
Well, thank you. That's all we had.
All right, let's move on to construction update.
Now, I hope you got excited when you saw some of the pictures this month. Sometimes from month to month, you don't see a lot of progress, but this was not one of those months. As you're seeing behind you here, we've talked a lot about the underground piping there, which for those who are in the audience, many times in an auditorium, you're forcing the air from really the roof area. So in a building of this size, you'd be forcing that air from 30 feet in the air, which means it's going to be loud, the motors that run that. So we chose to put that piping in the ground. You only get one chance to do that right, so it has taken them a few weeks to set this, and then they'll obviously pour concrete over the top of that, but it will provide a great, from an aesthetic standpoint, you're not going to see it up in the rafters, and it's just going to be a lot quieter. So that's what you're seeing in the first two pictures here. And you're starting to see out in the hallways a lot of the drywall being put up there. The question I ask is, why is the drywall purple, whereas most of us are accustomed to seeing that in white? That has to do with the fire retardant nature of the drywall that would be in a facility like this. But you're seeing part of the concession stand area there. Here, you're starting to get a look at, when you're on the second floor, looking to the north and to the east, the glass, just the amount of natural light that's going to be coming into that area. Pretty excited about using that area, specifically after hosting the sectional basketball tournament last week, as we were asking people to come through our hallways that are much more narrow. We're going to be able to house a lot of people, get them out of the inclement weather, get them inside, get them their tickets, and it's just going to make for much better movement around the gymnasium and, of course, the auditorium.
And to give some sense of space in that picture, sorry, Greg. There on the right-hand side, you see the three gentlemen in the safety vests. There is a door just to their right that steps into the upstairs portion of the visitor side bleachers of the gymnasium. So that's where the door that will get you into the upstairs of the east side bleachers is located. And then there will be a door for the west side bleachers on the other end of this lot.
Which actually has an elevator on the west side to get to that mezzanine. Greg, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and go. This is just giving you an idea of, we talk about the waterfall seating quite a bit. That's just how we connect the balcony to the main floor. You can see on the right, that's where the seats will be, but on the left, you've got the steps that'll be in place there. So it's just really starting to take form. And then the last one, you're not seeing any of the underground piping here. You're seeing what would be in that stage 4 area where the orchestra pit is. Fortunately, with that massive rainfall we had, was that Monday or Tuesday, that filled up quite a bit. So we are anxious to get that underground work done so we can put those last few concrete slabs in place so we can get it weatherized a little bit better. But that's really the last piece other than pouring the concrete that we have to go there.
So I took that picture, I'm kind of standing at the top of the steps that will take you from stage level into the lower floor seating area. And then the form here on the right that's angling out, that's kind of the front of the stage as it'll curve across the opening of the proscenium.
So I would still point out, we've put the construction documents in there from the 2 construction meetings. You see the timeline. Right now, we're still on that timeline for completion in early October. I know a few of you took advantage of an opportunity for a tour. Mr. Day and I are certainly willing to provide those again if you'd like to see it, or for those who haven't seen it. It's pretty eye-opening to get in there.
There's a lot more space to it now with it being built out. See it come together.
Looks good.
Getting exciting.
Yeah.
Now that it's warmed up, we hope.
Yes, happy to take you through a warmer climate there.
All right, thank you. All right, let's move right along to new business information. Mr. Day.
Yes, I have lots of items this month, but we'll try to roll through them here efficiently. The first item is our normal grants and donations. We have 6 of them this month. Harris Elementary School received a donation of $125 from the Upsilon chapter of Psi Iota Xi to benefit their library. J.B. Stevens Elementary received a set of guitars valued at $700 from an anonymous donor to benefit their music program. The School Corporation Feed the Future Fund received donations of $1,430 in memory of Betty Dreisbach to benefit the past due lunch accounts. Mrs. Stout will use these funds to pay off student accounts. Betty was a longtime employee of ours, and Tilly's mother, who unexpectedly passed away around Christmas time, and it was important to her that we do something for those kids who need some help. The school corporation received a $2,500 grant from Nine Star to help provide camp invention scholarships. The Greenfield Intermediate School received a donation of $2,300 from United Way for literacy programs. And Maxwell Intermediate School received an electric piano valued at $300 from an anonymous donor to benefit the music program. I ask that the school board approves these grants and donations as presented. The amount of these opportunities is $7,355.
Okay, get a motion to approve the grants and donation as presented, and thank everyone that donated.
I move that we accept the grants and donations as presented.
A second,
Second.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
The next item is an Apple lease. We are in the phase where we need to replace approximately 950 iPads, which would cover three grade levels. We're looking at our typical 4-year lease with the $1 buyout. We did receive the lease documents over the weekend, but I've included the quote from Apple in this. I just wanted the board's permission to go ahead and move forward with Apple in order to lock in delivery of these before next year, and I'll bring back the final resolution and lease documents to you at the next board meeting for your final approval.
Greg, I believe the price per unit is cheaper this time than it was a year ago.
This time of year, Apple's getting ready to introduce new iPads, so we have a chance to buy the current gen iPad at a discounted rate of about $20 per unit. Doesn't sound like a lot, but when you figure over almost 1,000 iPads, it adds up.
Just the board approve the quote as presented.
I thought you were gonna say something else.
Oh, no.
Okay. Yeah, you gotta get a motion to approve the quote presented and allow the business manager to work with Apple on the lease documents.
Make a motion to approve the quote as presented and allow the business manager, Mr. Day, to work on lease documents.
Second.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. All those,
The third item is our CD resolution. We talked in the Board of Finance meeting in January that we have an investment portfolio with a series of laddered certificates of deposit. Baker Tilly does that for us on our behalf, and they asked that we pass this resolution each year. I think this is the third or fourth year that we've done it. Same resolution in the past. I just ask the board to approve the resolution as presented.
Yeah, can I get a motion to approve the resolution as presented?
I move that we approve the CD resolution as presented. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Monthly cancellation of checks.
Yes, thank you. Again, this is an annual item that we take care of, and each year the schools and the corporation business office pull together any checks that are outstanding from at least 2 years ago. The list of those checks are attached, and we will, once we cancel those, it also shows you the fund or account that it will go back into. I ask the board approve the list of old checks to be canceled as presented.
Yeah, can I get a motion to approve the list of old checks to be canceled as presented?
I move that we approve the list of old checks to be canceled as presented.
Okay, second,
I'll second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say. On to school bus purchases.
Yes, it's that time of year where we work with Central Indiana Education Service Cooperative Bus Purchasing Program to figure out prices for buses. They handle the solicitation of bids for us, and they actually do it for everybody, and then you go in and pick the bus that you like out of what they have priced for us. We would like to buy a 33 passenger bus, 2 78 passenger propane buses, and another activity bus. Those 4 buses come at a price of $562,632. Part of that's gonna come from last year's bond proceeds. We're also working with McAllister Equipment, who was the winner of this cooperative purchasing bid on trade-in pricing. We do have some buses that have reached the end of their usable life, and it's time to trade those in and get a little bit of a discount. So at this time, the purchase should not exceed $562,632. If you remember, we got a grant a couple of years ago to buy a propane bus and try it out. It's been very successful. We get better gas mileage, it heats up a little bit quicker, and it's been a very positive addition to our fleet and very easy to work on as well. So the transportation department would like to add 2 more to our fleet.
I believe the only downside, we just don't take them on really long trips.
Yeah. They say you can fill them off of a propane truck that comes out to you, but I'd rather not do that if we got a group of kids stuck in Evansville, Indiana waiting for a bus to be filled, so. But no, they've been really great around town and they work very well, so. I just ask the board to approve these purchase of the 4 buses as presented.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the purchases of our 4 buses as presented?
I move we approve the bus purchase as presented.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? On to our soccer turf project.
This one will take a minute to load, there are a lot of pages on there, so be patient on that one.
73,000, roughly. Apparently everybody's trying to open it once, cause mine took a while. Everybody have it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So as we discussed at the last board meeting, we asked for permission back then to receive bids for the soccer turf project. As we've discussed, we were talking late last year, summer, early fall, about redoing the soccer field with natural grass turf. There was obviously a cost associated with that, and in doing some investigation, we're looking at going to artificial turf. So Mr. Manning and his team met with 4 vendors in this space, and we presented that information to the board, recommending that we pursue this project. We're using a cooperative purchasing system that, as much as we've done on the football field and track projects in the past. 3 of the 4 vendors are part of that cooperative purchasing group, and so we initiated the bidding process with the group. We sent out bid documents on February 15th, and we received bids from all 3 vendors on March 1st, or by the March 1st deadline. A couple of them turned them in early. We based our evaluation of bids out of 100 points, 75 on price, 25 on what we call qualitative review, and based upon the quality of their field and the foundation and their ability to meet the requirements for our field design and our schedule, their experience in this space, the warranty that they're providing. The evaluation team of Dr. Olin, Mr. Manning, and myself reviewed the submitted proposals, focusing on the base bid submissions of a monofilament turf product with an infill consisting of 70% rubber and 30% sand. This blend is designed specifically for soccer. After review, we assigned the qualitative scores. The pricing is based on a mathematical formula where the lowest price received the most points. At the end of this evaluation, actually, I'd like to stop for a second. Mr. Manning and a couple of our soccer coaches went out and visited some sites to compare the different types of turf, the monofilament versus the slit film or a combination mono-slit. Slit film is what we have on our current football field, and they're very excited about the monofilament product. It plays much more like natural grass for soccer. So what we are recommending is that we move forward with Maumee Bay as the winning bidder with 97 points out of 100. I've included all the proposal packages, the full bid evaluation, and the original bid documents. I asked that the school board approve Maumee Bay as a vendor for the 2024 soccer turf project. And they authorized the superintendent and business manager to issue a notice to proceed. We'll do that tomorrow in order to get this project started on our timeline. And also authorize the superintendent and business manager to finalize and sign the contract.
Any questions or comments on this one? All right, can I get a motion to approve Maumee Bay as the vendor for the 2024 soccer turf project? Authorize the superintendent and business manager to issue a notice to proceed. Authorize the superintendent and business manager to finalize and sign the contract.
Make a motion to approve Maumee Bay as the vendor for our 2024 soccer turf project, as well as authorize Mr. Day and Dr. Olin to issue the notice to proceed, as well as to finalize and sign the contract.
Any second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say. Thank you.
We'll get the ball rolling on that.
Thank you.
I believe Mr. Holden might be smiling a bit.
Might be a little excited.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate all the work that went into it. I helped when I was a football coach of getting turf at Brownstown, and I remember all the work and making sure we did that right. You guys went well above what I did, so that's not saying a whole lot, but but no, I know you brought a lot of information to us to review, so appreciate you doing all that work.
All right, on to out-of-state overnight field trips.
Actually, we have the library.
Oh, I'm sorry,
report.
yeah.
This time we have Mr. Ford.
Thank you for having me tonight. I will try to be quick and concise. I do like talking about the library, but I know you got other important things to talk about too. So annual update from the library. As one of our appointing bodies, we come out each year. Dave's sorry that he can't be here as the director tonight. New Pal had their meeting on the same night, and so we are tag teaming, and you get to talk to me instead. So I think there's a slides, looks like this. I passed them out to all of you, and then we may have them on the screen as well.
I'll put them up here for you.
Thank you.
There we go, I got it, sir.
Perfect. So last year was a great year at the library, and this year's off to a great start as well. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But the first slide that you have there is just how the library is funded, which some of you have seen this information before. But the library is mostly funded on local income tax, LIT, which used to be split between CADGET, county adjusted gross income tax, and then CEDAT, county economic development income tax. Those were lumped together a few years ago into one pot. And so the majority of our budget, while we don't get all of the local income tax, but the majority of our budget is made up of those fundings, but we do get a little less than 5% from license excise, and then a very tiny bit of financial institution tax. So that's how our funding is made up of the budget. But our funding is unique, especially compared to other public libraries in the state. So in 1999, the seeded fund for HCPL and Fortville Vernon Township Public Library was established. And the calculations for this is based off of property tax. However, income tax is where the money's actually pulled from. So neither of us take more than what the property tax calculation would be, but we, and like I said before, we don't receive all of the seeded funds. The county, city, and towns receive the majority of that. And we do have a property tax backup. If income tax weren't there for some reason, we would still be funded by property tax. But in my opinion, it's a much more equitable way to do it. I probably told this story last year, but I remember in 1998, I grew up outside of city limits, and so my parents, for my birthday that year, actually bought us library cards to be able to use the Greenfield Library, checked out books without us knowing it, wrapped them up, and that's what I unwrapped, me and my brothers, for birthday. And so we were even more excited the next year when we didn't have to buy membership to the library, that we could use it for free as part of the county. And so it's been a big part of my life growing up as well. Next slide is just a breakdown of our expenditures compared to the state average of how we are spending our budget. So 56.33% of our budget is spent on salaries and benefits compared to a 61% of state average of other public libraries. So we're a little under that. And while I think we do a really good job with salaries and benefits, it just speaks to how our community values the library, how well funded we are, that we can spend money in other areas, as you can see, with nearly 19% being spent on the collection compared to 14% at other public libraries. We're spot on in supplies, being 2% with other libraries. Other services, we're a little under there. We're at 17.26, and then a little higher, we have had some capital projects come due, just like you guys are talking about tonight at the library, with a building that's 10 plus years old now. We've had some bigger projects and some still on the horizon that I'll tell you about here in a little bit, in a couple slides. Like I said, last year was a great year for the libraries from a usage perspective, as we continue to distance ourselves from kind of the dip we saw due to COVID. Last year was nearly back to normal. I expect this year to actually be record-setting for the library. But last year, out of 238 library districts, we're number 24 in district size. And you can see how the community uses us. We were number 12 in overall circulation, 11 in electronic circulation, which is our ebooks and audiobooks and other databases that we offer, and then number 7 based on annual visits, which is our door count. So just tremendous community support, which we're so proud of. And then tagging that with the next slide, which is my favorite. I just think this is so cool when we have an average or a service area of 64,000 compared to all those other libraries that are so much larger than us, and we're still slotting in there with usage. And there's plenty of libraries under us that have larger service areas. And so I don't know if we'll ever catch up to some of the ones above us, just because they have so many more people, but it is a tremendous testament to the community using the library. Some other stats. This picture here is from our fabulous May the 4th Be With You Star Wars parade through the library. We had some really cool cosplay characters come in and walk with the kids. That was a fun day. We'll be doing that again this year if all goes well. But last year we had over 460,000 visitors to the library. Breaking that down by location, most of that was at the Greenfield location, 376,000. But our Sugar Creek branch is really strong numbers as well, over 67,000. And then our Bookmobile really took off. They were able to increase their outreach to all parts of the county. That's a record for them of 17, almost 18,000 visitors to the Bookmobile, so we're really excited about that as well. 5,600 people using our study rooms, and almost 16,000 people attended a program at one of our locations. So, upcoming in 2024, we've got some exciting projects on the way. This has gotten pushed into April a little bit, but we are upgrading our RFID sorter, which is the picture you see on the left. That's about 8 years old, and it's starting to show its wear and tear on its life. If you haven't seen that machine work, I'd love to show it to you sometime if you want to stop by, but that actually sorts all of our materials as the main branch as it's returned by item type into bins. It helps us be a lot more efficient with getting items back out to the shelf. But it's time to replace that so that we will have a new one of those installed in April. And we're excited about that as far as it being quieter, more up to date, and helping us stay efficient and meeting the demand of the returns that we have coming in and out of the library. In August and September, we're gonna be upgrading our self-checks to a model that is on the right there. That's actually at the Greenwood Public Library. I went and visited them to check that out. But very modern. If you've used our self-checks before at the library, we've had the same model for many, many years, and it's just time to upgrade those. This will give our patrons a lot of new features to take advantage of right at the self-check, from being able to renew materials, place holds right there, which is something they can't do right now, as well as we can even sync up with existing databases that we use like Novelist and have book recommendations. And so the self-check will be able to say, oh, you just checked out James Patterson. We also have this book by a similar author. Do you want to go ahead and place that on hold right now? And it'll let them do it in one transaction. So really cool streamlining that process and connecting patrons with more of our resources at the point of checkout. Along with the self-checks, we're going to be adding a new marketing software that will integrate with all of our screens in the building, self-checks, the screen on the sorter, all of our public computers, as well as any other marketing screens we have. They will all be integrated to play the same kind of slideshow. It can be controlled from one device in the back, and so really excited for our marketing team to take advantage of that and promote all the cool events that we have coming on at the library. And then important things, not as exciting things as the shiny self-checks, but we will.
It's not just us,
Not just
Exactly. You know, we want to be, I certainly want to be comfortable when I'm in the building, so this winter we'll be replacing the chiller, and then in the summer we'll be replacing the boilers. That's both at Greenfield. It's high time for that. Those have been there since the building was installed. If you haven't stopped by to see this art installation that we unveiled February 1st, I really encourage you to do that. Chris Sickles with Red Nose Studio, local artist here in Greenfield, built off of the little guy with the big orange nose reading a book. Chris designed that for us several years ago to be the design of our children's library card design that we issue to kids. And we've had that model in the library for several years, and when we wanted to do this art installation, he used that as kind of the springboard to say, well, what if I created more of a world around this guy? And he's created all these other fun creatures. And so that was unveiled February 1st for people to enjoy at the library. That's something that we can expand and plan to expand and add new pieces to for people to see as they come into the library, heading into the children's area over the next several years. So we're really excited about that. And then an update on Imagination Library. The Hancock County Library and the Community Foundation of Hancock County partnered together to make this great service work for Hancock County. We handle the registrations at the library, and so currently we have over 2,700 enrolled, and we finally crossed that 2,000 mark this past year in those that have graduated. You can see the breakdown there of how we're reaching the different parts of the community, a lot of those in our bigger towns for sure, but excited to see that program still growing and doing really well. I know my kids have enjoyed those books showing up in the mail. So this is our current Board of Trustees. Our president's Libby Manship, and she's appointed by Eastern Hancock Schools. Vice President's Fred Fox from Southern Hancock. Our secretary is Lori Elmore, appointed by the Greenfield City Council. And then we have Tom Sang, appointed by Mount Vernon. Zach Schreier from the County Commissioners, Michelle Hasty from the County Council, and then of course Jeannie Roberts, who's here with me tonight, appointed by Greenfield Central. Thank you so much for, Jeannie's awesome. We love working with, our whole board is so supportive of us. We love all of them, but thank you for allowing Jeannie to help us out. And then That is Dave's information up there. I include my business card on all of those packets that I handed out. I will answer any questions if you have them.
Questions or comments?
Just grateful for the partnership.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
appreciate all that you guys do to work with us and support us as well. We certainly feel it, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On to personal matters, contract.
Jump back.
Hold on, I jumped back, didn't I?
You said it
I
earlier,
said
so
it
the
earlier,
out of
right.
state and overnight.
Out of state overnight field trips,
And we
yeah.
just have one for you, and this is actually, if you had a chance to read that, we have a student going to the JAG National Career Development Conference, and a very accomplished young lady, and obviously Mr. Turner's done a nice job with that group. I would recommend approval of that trip, it would have incur no cost to the corporation.
Can I get a recommendation to approve this overnight out-of-state trip as presented?
I move that we approve the overnight out-of-state trip as presented.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say. Now on to contract recommendation, resignations, and leaves.
Yep, leave of absence, Laura Mann, Lisa Milliard, certified recommendations, Kathy McGinn, Karen Martinez, certified resignations, Jeffrey Baston, Ashley Bullard, and then on the second page, ECA recommendations for Guy Volley and Tiffany White. Ask that the board approve the personnel report as presented, allow us to hire as needed for the duration of this year, and also as we look toward the next year, of course, we bring those people to you at the next regular scheduled board meeting.
Can I get a motion to approve the personnel report as presented?
Make a motion to approve the report as presented, as well as give permission to hire as needed for 23-24 and into 24-25 school year.
Can I a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say. On to.
I think I might have a new teacher here this evening.
We do.
Mr.
We are
Carey.
very excited to get Tiffany Anderson here. We've stolen her from Sheridan High School, and she'll be teaching English with us starting next month.
It's my pleasure to introduce two of our new teachers to you. First, I'd like to introduce Emmeline Wagner, our new choir teacher. The choir director, Emmeline joined us in January, a graduate of University of Wisconsin-Platteville.
Yeah.
And also Dan Capps. Dan is an English language arts teacher who has joined us also recently. Dan was last employed by Western Wayne.
I had just one more personnel recommendation. It is my honor to recommend the promotion of Mr. Jason Carey to the role of Assistant Superintendent that would begin on June 3rd at the conclusion of, right after graduation. I think he's well known by all of you on the board, all of you in the, most of you in the audience as well. He's done a great job for us over the last 7 years as we look toward our needs in Greenfield Central. He'd be a welcome addition to that team. So that would be my recommendation to you.
Okay, get a motion to approve Mr. Jason Carey as Assistant Superintendent of Greenfield Central Community School Corporation beginning June 3rd, 2024.
I move that we approve Jason Carey as the Assistant Superintendent of Greenfield Central School starting in June.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say. Welcome aboard on this side. On information. Do you have anything else?
I think I will thank Mr. Manning and all the staff that helped with the sectional. I know there's a huge crowd both locally and from the visiting teams, as well as pretty good food in the hospitality room. I've been to a lot of gyms and a lot of environments like that, the behind the scenes, I'm sure was not as fun for him and the staff as it was for me, but I enjoyed it even though we didn't quite come out on top. But great atmosphere for everyone, and looking forward to when we can do it again with more space with the new addition.
And I was listening or watching the game on the live feed, and the announcers on the IHSAA broadcast were very complimentary of you and your staff as well, so well done.
Thank you.
You did a great job.
Anything else?
Probably just need to note the next school board meeting.
Yep. Oh, yeah, the next school board meeting will be, April the 8th.
15th, we moved it from the 8th because of the eclipse.
Right. Yeah, I was getting there. Important dates. Regular school board meeting Monday 2024, Education Service Center, we moved it because of the eclipse. Spring break, March 8th through 18th to the 29th. E-learning day will be on the 8th, probably because of the eclipse. And then, if we don't have any more talking points, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move we adjourn.
No, second? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right.
According to the current weather forecast, it's supposed to be a sunny day.
No, my minute.
Now you